Jai Shri Mataji. We thank Shri Mataji for this blessing of lifetimes that she has revealed her true form to us, and humbly bow down with gratitude to raise our Kundalini and take collective bandhan and begin tonight's meditation. So let's humbly bow down and take bandhans together. Let's take Shri Ganesha's mantra once. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namaha. Let's take our attention inside and in our heart, we feel the joy of the Spirit as we saw the joy of the children and all the Sahajyogis singing to Shrimataji at an evening program in Eastbourne in 1991. So let's meditate quietly on that feeling of joy with the presence of Mother Shrimataji in our hearts. With our left hand towards Shri Mataji and our right hand, we raise our Kundalini right from Muladhara to Sahasrara as we keep our attention inside and prepare ourselves to listen to Shri Mataji's speech on heart chakra, on security and motherhood. So quietly, with our attention inside, with our right hand, we raise our Kundalini from Muladhara chakra to Sahasrara 7 times.
The chakra of the goddess lies behind the sternum bone in the spinal cord. This chakra is placed above the Bhavasagar, above the void, as we call it in Sahajama. And the bridge that has to be crossed by the bhaktas, by the seekers, is guarded by her. She is the one, she helps her children to come through that passage when there are negative forces trying to attack on a seeker. This chakra is placed at the back of the sternum bone, as I told you. In childhood, the antibodies are formed in the sternum bone. They are the warriors or the Sainikas of the day. Until the age of 12 years, they grow and multiply, and ultimately they all get distributed all over the body. And a human being is made able to face any outside invasion on him. These antibodies know how to fight. They are extremely confident and they know who are their enemies. They have all these messages built in themselves. So when the anti-God element enters into the being through any process, say through food, through words, through action, through devilish people or black magic, these antibodies combine together, collectively fight the invaders. Those who do not have their central heart properly developed suffer from tremendous insecurity all their lives. When they are children, you try to control them by frightening. These children later on become extremely insecure. They are afraid of darkness, they are afraid of night, some of them are afraid of everything. Because the antibodies that are built in the body are not sufficient in number. And being this center so weak, the person feels extremely insecure. Later on in life, when the child goes to the school or he tries to work, out something for the future, then also his confidence can be shaken by parents, teachers and outside people. So it is very important to understand children who are grown. In the West, they analyze everything and try to put human beings into compartments. First, the child is a child according to them. Child has no innocence and is extremely selfish. Second part is adolescence, which they think is a very arbitrary, moody stuff. In India, we do not know that there is something like adolescence. Now these adolescent people form a group and they start criticizing or making fun of all the elders. At a very young age it starts. First they make fun of the teachers, then of the parents, then of all the people who are senior to them. They start becoming extremely active in their brains because they see too many televisions and things like that. And then they start behaving at a very young age in such a violent ways that one cannot imagine. I used to live about 25 miles away from London. And every time I would go to London, I would find some children doing some sort of a mischief somewhere. But one day some of them entered into my compartment. And they started pulling out all the covers, thrusting their knives into the seats, opening out all the upholstery. I was just sitting and watching. So I said, "Now are you tired? Please sit down. What's the problem?" They said, "We are all very angry." I said, "For what? Why are you angry?" I said, "We are just angry." I said, "But you have to be angry for something." They were children going to good schools, definitely wearing very good clothes. And then I had to, when the train stopped, I called the ticket collector and told him that these boys have been doing all this hooliganism in the compartment and you better look at it. And he came in and he said, "This is a common thing." And then somehow or other he took them out. But the only thing I felt about them is that all of them had their center heart catching. On the Kundalini, they are catching their center heart. But when they saw me, they sat down. They were quiet. They listened to me. I settled their center heart. And most of them said, "We are angry with our mother." Why? Because our brothers are angry. But why your brothers are angry? Then I discovered that Freud has given these funny ideas against the mother. Mother itself, can you imagine? What an anti-God activity it is. To an India, mother is the primal thing. Any Indian. Because his sense of security lies in the mother. Even if the father is hot-tempered, is angry, still they depend on the mother. Because mother knows when to get angry and when not to get angry. She has the discrimination. And she is the one who protects them. The idea of mother is completely blasted in the West. And this is the reason why the children of that country feel so insecure, and when they grow, they are extremely insecure. You won't believe that all the time they are polishing their brass, cleaning their house, but not even a rat enters their houses. And if they have to talk to someone, they'll make a person stand outside and talk from inside, especially in London. Because they are literally frightened. Nobody will believe the British who ruled us are such frightened people. But they are. They are frightened of each other, they are frightened of themselves. The reason is the center heart is absolutely weak. I have told you the first reason, the family insecurities. The child does not know when he comes back from school whether his mother would be there or she would be gone. They don't have mothers who can bear a lot from the husbands and smile and show no signs of their agony to their children. But the mothers in that country, I have seen, always try to use their children from all kinds of emotional blackmail, you can call it. They try to torture the child by telling all the things the husband is doing to them and whatever is the problem they are facing with the husbands. So the child is not secured by the mother, but on the contrary, child starts giving security to mother there. At a very young age it starts, and the child becomes extremely negative and left-sided. He feels that he is born in a place full of hatred, insecurity and fear. When a person is frightened, this center starts breathing fast, giving rhythmic instructions to all the antibodies. With that, you feel you are getting a palpitation in the heart. This palpitation is nothing but a signal to all the antibodies to fight the emergency of an attack. But when somebody builds up insecurity later on in life, it becomes a physical problem. If they have insecurities earlier, it is an emotional problem. But later on in life, when one develops a insecurity, any kind, like a wife is insecure about her husband. Husband is a loafer or a bad man and carrying on with other women. So that motherhood of the wife is challenged. And when her motherhood is challenged, she may get the weakening of the center, by which she may suffer quite a lot and may have even breast cancer. These insecurities can be also self-made. Imagine, people can just think about it and build up some sort of insecurities which are of no actual existence. But such fears are very much more in the West, because the life in the West has no mooring, has no explanation. Whatever you ask them, they'll say, what's wrong? The husband will say, what's wrong in having a key? And the wife will also say, all right, if he wants to have a key, let him have it. In India, no woman would tolerate such a situation. She would starve, she would do everything, but she will never touch a man who has a key. So the basis of the strength of Indian women is their sense of chastity. The sense of chastity in the Indian women is so great that nothing can deter them as long as they are chaste. But if they are not chaste, then fear settles in them very fast. Chastity is the strength of women. And that's why those women who have fear mostly have a problem of their chastity being challenged. A woman who is frightened that her chastity may be disturbed also can develop a problem with the heart chakra. Such women can develop breast cancers, breathing troubles, and other kind of frightening diseases on the emotional level also. This chakra is ruined in women when they lose their only child, because their motherhood is finished, they feel. And that is the worst thing that can happen to a woman, if she is a woman. But if she is not a woman, she doesn't feel much, and she just behaves in a very manly way. And that's what I've seen in the West, that women really don't much care when their children die. But it is because they are not women. If you are a woman, you definitely feel for your children and their death. But after some time, such a woman comes back again, and she accepts the life as it is for the sake of her husband, or maybe if she has more relations or other children. She becomes extremely powerful as a reaction to what has happened. That's only possible if your center of heart is all right. Such women do not grudge, do not complain, are extremely serene and can bear up lots of things. They are extremely tolerant and can go to any extent to help their children. But they are never spoiling their children. They never spoil their children because they understand spoiling is much worse than beating the child. They never spoil their children nor ever pamper them and never get dominated by their children. They know I have to guide the child and I have to look after the child. So they look after all the ideals and righteousness and the virtues of the child. And if he tries to get out of it, they go all out to win him over, back to virtue and to better life. But those people, those women who do not care for actual growth of the child may just avoid it and escape. In the men, this chakra is caught up if they have lost their mother very early, or if their mother by chance is a very cruel woman. Also this chakra can be caught up by men if they have been to wars and if they have seen frightful things in the war. Such people could be extremely emotional and could be easily be fooled by people who try to win over their emotions. This heart center is caught up by various emotional problems in human beings. Husband and wife, if they all the time quarrel, there's always quarreling in the house, especially if the mother is very dominating, the child develops this center. And if the father is very dominating, the child develops the heart itself. So it is very important that husband and wife should never quarrel in the presence of their child. Center heart can be developed in countries where there's all fear, people are frightened. It can be developed by other things by which people are frightened. Reading books of bad gurus and reading the books about shocking things, like many people who read the Kundalini's book have got center heart because they are so frightened about the Kundalini. Anything that frightens you if you read can make your heart very, very weak and dangerous. So the right side of every human being represents the fatherhood. The fatherhood. And the fatherhood of a man is very important. If this center is spoiled or if there's something wrong with it, then you get asthma as a disease. Asthma is only caused by this center being spoiled or some other combinations with this center. Asthma is very common among girls and boys, and the relationship with the father or the understanding of the father or your own fatherhood is not all right, you get this trouble of asthma, and for that one has to ask the questions to the sadhakas, what sort of a father you have. And one gentleman came and asked me, why everybody is asking me what sort of a father you have, everybody asks me, what about your father, what about your father, what has my father to do with me? Actually everybody feels the right heart and they have to ask about the father, because father resides in the right heart. And the principle of fatherhood, if it is spoiled, if there is a problem with the principle of fatherhood, then you get this problem and many other problems, which I do not want to discuss now at length, but you can understand a person who has no father, how diffident he is and how he behaves. And also such people, those who have not known a father, can become very wayward, licentious or permissive, or could be very much secretly licentious. The people who lose their father do not have that they lack in that discipline that the father gives them. Or could be such people who take to a very remorse and unhappy life, or they could be very hard on their children, or could be extremely kind and spoil the children. It could be anyway. So it has both the reactions, either too much of love giving or too much of strictness. It can be anything, or a person could be of this kind, may be very strict in childhood and could be extremely lavish in old age. It is a very imbalanced personality. So the person who has no father has to know that his father is Sri Rama. He should not worry about anything. He is a one, with one arrow he can kill any number of people. So he should have no fear at all about his father not being there or father being dead or something happening like that. On the contrary, if the father is dead, it's better to tell him not to worry about you and that you are all right, so that you leave your father in peace and ask him to take his birth than to bind him to this earth. This is the right heart, and the left heart is the mother, actually your own mother, whosoever it is. That is the motherhood, in the sense that if your mother has been extremely unkind and extremely funny, or your relationship with mother is bad, then know that there is something wrong on the left hand, which is indicated in you. So these 2 points are very important in human beings. If a Sahaja just decides that I have a father and a mother, God Almighty is my father and my mother, then these problems can be easily solved. But in Sahaja Yoga, it is not what you think that works out. It does not. Like in the car, if you sit down and think that I am going to Connaught Place, you won't move. You have to move your hands. In the same way, in Sahaja Yoga, you have to move your hands, clear your chakras, move them higher and put them up. It's not what you think is important in Sahaja Yoga, not at all. You may think that I'm doing very well in Sahaja Yoga, I'm very good, but it's not so. It is what you actually achieve, your ascent is the point. So as in the car, as I told you, you cannot just sit down and think and do the job. In the same way, you have to run this machine and you have to see that you get all this movement. There should be gati in you. Otherwise, there is no sense in just talking about Sahaja Yoga, thinking about Sahaja Yoga and convincing yourself that you are a great Sahaja Yogi. It is how you manifest it is the point, which very few people understand. Very, very few people understand that it has to be manifesting. It has to be karyanvit. It is not just talk, 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 talk morning till evening. Even when I am talking, now I am opening your heart center. I am working it. Even I am talking also, I am opening. It's working. You will see your heart chakra is open by the time I finish my lecture. It is so, because I know how to do it. When I talk, I am just watching where the chakras are catching, what's happening, and I am catching all these points and touching it. I am trying to open it. And that's how it should be. That even when you talk, it should be karyanvit. Even when you are quiet and raising your hands, it should be karyanvit. Whatever you do, you should be karyanvit. Even if you glance at anyone, it should be karyanvit. It should not be just a kind of a jabbering that we do sometimes about Sahaja. The greatest fear human beings have, that they think they have done lots of mistakes. And these mistakes are too many and they can never get realization. They'll be doomed, they'll be going to hell. This is not true at all. Nobody is going to go hell if you do not want to. If you want to stop it, you can stop it. The time has come. You are going to be blessed and blessed forever. So may God bless you. Today's lecture I have given you in a way that you should understand the importance of confidence, but not by saying I am confident, because when you say outwardly you are actually egoistical. But when you say in your vibrations, then you are confident. May God bless you.
Jai Shrimati. Let's put our right hand on our center heart and we pray to Shrimati Ji. Shrimati Ji, please settle our center heart. Please open our hearts. So that your pure divine love radiates in our beings and through our beings to the entire universe. Let's meditate for a few moments and then we will listen to a short excerpt on the auras of the heart, and we pray to Mother that we are able to absorb and imbibe this very deep knowledge that she's imparting, and that we are able to conduct ourselves as she wants us.
So the brain is controlled through the spirit. How? That around the heart there are 7 auras. Which can be multiplied into any number. 7 raised to power 1600, which are the ones which watch the 7 chakras raised to power 1600. 16,000, sorry. Now this spirit is watching through this aura. Watching, I am again saying watching. Through this aura, can you sit down? Can you sit down? I think it will be better. There's no need to bother once you have put it in. This aura is watching the behavior of your 7 centers in your brain. Is also watching all the nerves that are working in the brain, watching again. But when you bring the spirit into your brain, then you go 2 steps ahead. Because when your Kundalini rises, she touches the Sadashiva, and Sadashiva informs the spirit. Informs in the sense reflects in the spirit. So that's the first state where the watching auras start communicating to your different chakras in the brain and integrating it. But when you bring your spirit to your brain, this is the second state. Then you really become self-realized in the full way. In the full way. Because then yourself, that is the spirit, becomes your brain. Action is very dynamic. It opens then the 5th dimension in the human being. First, when you become realized, collectively conscious, and start raising the Kundalini, you cross the 4th dimension. But when your spirit comes into your brain, then you become the 5th dimension, means you become the doer. Our brain now, for example, says, all right, lift this thing up. So you touch it with your hand, you lift it up. You are the doer. But when the brain becomes the spirit is the doer. And when spirit is the doer, then you become a complete Shiva, self-realized. In that state, if you get angry, you are not attached. You are not an attached person to anything whatsoever. If you possess anything, you are not attached. You cannot attach because spirit is detachment. Complete detachment. You don't bother about any attachments whatsoever. Even for a second you are not attached. Now, I would say to understand the detachment of spirit, we should study ourselves very well, clearly. How are we attached? We are attached, firstly, by our brain, mostly by our brain, because all our conditionings are in our brain and all our ego is also in our brain. So all emotional attachments are through our brain and all our egoistical attachments also are through our brain. That's why it is said that after realization one must try to practice the Shiva Tattva by practicing detachment. जरा मला शाल दे. तसं शिवाची पण थंड start करा. Now, how do you practice this detachment? सगळ्यांना इंग्लिश समजता ना थोडं थोडं? In the practice of Sahaja Yoga, you have to rise higher. You have to improve your own instrument and not the instrument of others. This is one thing one should know. For definite. Now you just watch your attention very simply. Watch yourself. As soon as you start watching yourself, your attention, you will become more identified with your spirit. Because if you have to watch your attention, you have to be your spirit. Otherwise, how will you watch? So now see, where is your attention going? First, the attachment is in all gross ways to your body. So we see Shiva, there is no attachment to him. He sleeps anywhere. He goes to the cemeteries and sleeps there. Because he's not attached, he can never be caught up by any boots or anything, nothing of the kind. He's detached. The detachment is to be watched and seen through your own attachments. Now, because you are realized souls, not yet, the spirit has not come into your brain, of course, but still you are realized souls. So what you can do is at least to watch your attention you can do. You can watch your attention very clear by seeing where your attention is going. And then controlling your attention also you can do. Very simple. Control your attention. You have to just remove your attention from this to that. Try to change your priority. All this has to be done now. After realization, a complete
Jeshmatji, we prepare ourselves to perform Aarti to our Mother, Shri Adishakti Shri Mataji, Nirmala Devi.
सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ दे, सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जग में संकट कारण कितने दिए अवतार माँ, कितने दिए अवतार। विश्व में तेरी महिमा, विश्व में तेरी महिमा। तू गंगा यमुना माँ, सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जो भी शरण में आया सुख ही मिला उसको माँ, सुख ही मिला उसको। बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ, बैठ के दिल में ओ माँ, लौट के ना जाना माँ, सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। मानव में अवतर के कर दिया उजियाला माँ, कर दिया उजियाला। कलयुग में माया है, कलयुग में माया है, फिर भी पहचाना माँ, सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। जय निर्मल माता जी, जय निर्मल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना माँ, सबको दुआ देना। संत जनों की धरती है भारत माता, माँ है भारत माता। इस धरती पर आकर, इस धरती पर आकर, दुख से दूर करना माँ, सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना। जय निरमल माता जी, जय निरमल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना। जब दिल में आए तब मधु संगीत सुन लो, माँ मधु संगीत सुन लो। हो सके जो सेवा, हो सके जो सेवा, हमसे करा लेना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना। जय निरमल माता जी, जय निरमल माता जी, दिल में सदा रहना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना, माँ सबको दुआ देना।
ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडलिनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी। श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कलकी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी। श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कलकी साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार स्वामिनी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी माता जी। श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। बोलो श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी की जय। जय श्री माता जी। Let's collectively bow down, raise a kundalini, take bandhan, and meditate as long as we like, silently. Jai Shri Mata Ji.